with Darren. I'm the brand manager for Jet City Amplifiers. Just want to give you a little bit of background about Jet City. One of the founders and one of the key designer of these products is the very famous Mike Soldano of Soldano Amplification. And Mike has had his hands on just about every product that Jet City has come out with. And obviously Jet City, being a Seattle-based company, that's where the name comes from, has provided us with this great product line. Starren, we're the distributor for the international community, store most of our products here in the U.S. in the Chicagoland area, in Portage, Indiana, where our warehouses are. So we're very centrally located. So when you order a Jet City amplifier from us, it comes from the middle of the country, which is terrific. So Mike Soldano is obviously a very famous guy as far as amplifiers. He's had his own personal handmade amplifiers. Been building them for many years. He's built them for kind of like the rich and famous guys, guitar players, famous guys that have been out there for many years. Some of those names would include Eric Clapton, Mark Knopfler, Steve Lukather, and I think the list just kind of goes on and on from there. He's just built them for a lot of great players. So what we did is a couple of his partners, Doug White was one of them, and then we got together and decided that they would like to make a series of products called Jet City, which is much more affordable for the average guy, the average Joe like me, Joe Stopka. And that's where this line came from. Now this is actually a new product. Our first product that came out and has really been still one of our best sellers is the JCA-20H. It's a single channel, all tube, really great tone machine. It typically is a little bit of a higher gain amp, so it's going to be for the more modern rock or the heavier rock player, but traditional rock players can use it as well. One of our users, who is in a little band called Aerosmith, a guy by the name of Joe Perry, actually purchased one of these amplifiers on one of our JCA-20Hs, and he's been using it on the new Aerosmith album and on his Joe's solo albums, and he actually uses it on tour. In fact, if you look online, you can see Joe's rig. It includes a little overview of that, and you'll see a JCA-20H in there, and Joe primarily uses that amplifier for his talk bag scenario. He says it's one of the best sounding talk bag amplifiers that he's ever used. But he came to us and said, you know, I have a really affinity towards vintage Marshalls. He's got a wall full of them on tour. And so he said, can you guys make me something like this JCA-20H, but with a little less gain, a little darker sound, a little warmer sound, a little cleaner, and maybe a little bit more output. And here it is, right here. This is the JCA-20HV. H for head, V for vintage. And you can see we have a really nice vintage look. And of course, along with that, we made a matching little small 212 slant cabinet. And I'll talk with you a little bit more about that shortly. But when you see this amplifier and you listen to it, the first thing, obviously, it oozes vintage look, vintage sounds. And it is much cleaner. I'm going to start off with the bridge pickup with the guitar all the way up. This will be a clean sound. To the neck pickup, a little jazzier sound, but still staying clean. Back to the bridge pickup, not changing the amp at all, and just I'm going to hit it a little bit harder to get a little bit more of a rock tone. So you can hear the versatility in the tone without changing any of the settings. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the gain and bring that up, and I'm going to turn the master volume down a little bit just so you can hear how this can gain up. I'm not changing any of the equalization, just turning the knobs a little bit, and as you can see the settings right there. turned up the gain even a little bit more and brought the master volume down a little bit so we can get a little bit more crunch. Still in the rear pickup, in the bridge pickup. Okay, now the next thing I'd like to tell you about is that you hear a little bit of echo going on. So we have one of our Jet City pedals. It's called the Flood. It's one of our analog delay pedal, and I have it in the loop of this amp. And what's important about knowing about that is that this loop is actually designed for us by Mojo. Mojo is one of those companies out there that makes some great products, designs some great products, and sells some great retrofittable products for any of your vintage amplifiers and some of your more boutique amplifiers. So they were kind enough to design this loop for us, and that's where that great echo tone is coming from, the delay tone. So take a listen to this. One more thing I'd like to tell you about is the cabinet that goes with the JCA 20HV, and that cabinet is called the JCA 24HV. And it's actually a very compact cabinet that fits nicely underneath our head here. And it has two vintage 30 Celestion vintage 30 12-inch speakers. Even though it's nice and compact, a lot of people think it's two 10-inch, but it's two 12-inch. One of the things I like about it is that when it's on the floor and you have a very narrow stage or very narrow in depth stage, the top speaker, because of the slight slant, faces up to you so you can hear it better for your intonation, and just make sure you got your tone dialed in just right. A lot of times these cabinets, they'll be so low and they'll be facing just right at your legs. A typical 212 cabinet is kind of horizontal, and this is vertical, so it's very nice. Obviously, again, the V at the end is for vintage. This is the JCA 24 SV. This time I'd like to tell you about the JCA 22H. This is the two-channel version of our most popular product, which is the 20H. Instead of just being a single channel tone machine, it actually gives you two different tonal opportunities here. So if you want to have the first channel be somewhat clean or crunchy, say like for more of a rock rhythm or crunch type tone, then you have the second channel, which is pure Soldano overdrive. So that's Mike's famous overdrive higher gain channel, more for your soloing or the heavier crunch type tones. So right now I'd like to give you a little bit of a taste of the first channel. I'm going to first play a little bit of clean tone, and then I'll adjust the gain to be higher than the master volume of that channel so we can get a little bit of that crunch sound. Here we go with the clean channel. Now I'm going to adjust the gain a little bit. You'll be able to see this. I'm going to bring the gain up to about 2 o'clock. I'm going to turn that crunch master volume down a little bit. And I'm going to go into the bridge pickup so you can hear a little bit of that rock and roll type crunch. So it's great. It's great for a rhythm type crunch, a little rock and roll type stuff. Now I'm going to switch over to the second channel, and you're going to get to hear that pure Soldano high gain overdrive. Perfect for the soloing. Great part about this, just 20 watts, but still has a lot of output, so it'll fit really well even with a combo in a small club, or if you're playing with the house band at the church. or even if you're just doing some solo work. This is going to be a very versatile amplifier for you to create all the types of tones you're looking for. From modern rock to jazz to country, it's going to cover it all. It's got an effects loop in it. Again, you can hear our Jet City, the flood analog delay, and that's just very simply just sitting in that loop there. You can hear that tailing off there. So it's a great sounding loop that you can put effects into. Makes this a really versatile product. This product here, MAT price, $399. Now I'd like to tell you a little bit about some of the cabinet options that go with our JCA 22H, actually go with any of our heads, our 50H, our 100H, and our 100 HDM. And that's a couple of these are 212 cabinets. The first one I'll tell you about is our JCA 24S Plus. And the plus actually stands for our Jet Direct DI that's built right into the cabinet. So if you're on stage and you want to mic up this cabinet, you don't have to have a mic in front of it. You can actually take the direct output, which is a mic simulated DI output, and take it right to the console. It'll sound like one of your most favorite microphones sitting in front of a 12-inch speaker. That's our JCA 24S. And then we make an all-American custom cabinet. And that's a 212 cabinet as well. And we stock that standard with Celestion Vintage 30s. By the way, I didn't mention in our JCA 24S Plus, we use our Mike Soldano design Eminence drivers in that. So you have two really great options in 212 cabinets. We also make some very similar designs in a single 12 cabinet, and we make some similar designs in 412 cabinets. So we give you lots of different options, lots of different tonal prints that go with our great sounding Jet City heads. I'm really excited to talk about this product because this is our Cadillac. This is the top of the line that we have in the Jet City lineup. And this is a direct derivative of Mike Soldano's very famous SLO 100. That's the coveted amp that really put Mike's name on the map with guys like Mark Knopfler and Eric Clapton and Steve Lukather, just to name a few. I mean, those guys are just amazing. And this amp is really, like I said, a direct derivative. It's a 100-watt 6L6 amplifier. A cool feature is that you can actually shut off to the power tube. So if you're playing in a club or an environment where you don't need quite 100 watts to move the air that you need, you can flip that switch down and you can get 50 watts just shutting off to the power tubes. But it's got two very distinct channels as far as gain and the master volume. I'll just take you through some of the controls real quick. You have your first channel, which is the crunch channel gain. The next control is actually your higher overdrive channel gain. And then you have a shared EQ. So you got bass, mid, and treble here. And then these are your master levels, one for the crunch channel, and then the next one for the overdrive channel. Then your presence control is actually like your tone control on your power amp side, so it gives you a little bit more of clarity in the back side towards the power amp. And then this is where I call Mike's secret sauce right here. This is his depth control. And I guess it would be akin to that loudness control, that very popular loudness control you saw in your stereo system. It really brought the overall detail and depth right out of your stereo sound system. And that's a very cool control and adds a lot of depth to. In my way of describing it, it's like if you only have a 212 cabinet but you want a 412 cabinet sound, just dial a little bit more of the depth control, and that's the tone that you have. On the back side of this, you'll find that there's an effects loop, so you can throw in your delays and your reverbs, those types of time-delayed, time-based effects. And then you have two 8-ohm outputs for speaker cabs and a 16-ohm. If you're using two cabs that are 16-ohm cabs, you would use the two 8-ohm jacks to accomplish the output on this. And then it's foot switchable. It comes with a really nice heavy-duty steel foot switch that allows you to switch between the crunch channel and the overdrive channel. Now let's listen to a little bit of the JCA 100 HDM. Here's the clean sounds right here. So you can get that really nice chimey clean tone. And you hear I have our flood analog delay in the loop, so it gives me that nice ambient tone that I'm looking for. Let's take this channel down and let's crunch it up a little bit. I'm going to bring the gain up. I'm going to take the volume down on the crunch channel, the master volume down. And let's hear what the humbucker, or I should say the bridge pickup, will sound like with this. So you can hear the crunch channel alone, there's lots of versatilities. Depending on the style you're playing, the style of music or the style of player that you are, you can get that versatility just in that one channel. Once again, I'd like to just remind you that if the 100 watts is too much for the particular venue you're playing in or the stage you're playing in, you can get that same tone but at a lower volume just by taking two of the power tubes out, two of the 4 6L6s out, by flipping down the switch here and going from 100 watts to 50 watts. Now let's go listen to the famous overdrive channel from Mike Soldano, very reminiscent of his SLO 100. Overdrive channel and just take it a little bit more overdrive, a little more on the gain side. Just back the volume down a little bit so I don't hurt you. And you can hear a little bit more of that famous overdrive. Tell you, unfortunately, you only have a little microphone that's picking all this up. But if you were in the room with us, you could feel the air moving. If you could see the guys that are off camera like shaking their head and going like this, maybe like this, it really moves a lot of air. And we're just using the 212 cabinet, so you can just imagine the type of air you could move with the 412 cabinet. Again, this is the king of the Jet City line. This is the JCA 100 HDM. And one more thing I'd like to tell you, we make a standard JCA 100H that does not have the 50 or 100 watt switch and does not have the depth control. But the preamp is pretty much set up the same. That is actually the amp that Zachy Vengeance is using with Avenged Sevenfold. This head is what Brian Nutter's using with Keith Urban's band. And then we make a standard JCA 50H, same controls as that 100H, but just 50 watts instead of 100 watts. So you've got some great flexibility in some of our higher wattage amplifiers. So come on, if you want to move some air and you want to really impress people in that nightclub or on stage, come and get a JCA 100 HDM.
Come on. Want to try it?
Let's give it a try.
What? You want to hear this? Okay.
This is one of the first 12 Paul Reed Smiths made. You want me to try this?
Absolutely right, yeah.
Oh, I don't
but
know.
You know, it's not a.
It's like Holy Grail.
Holy Grail.
Holy, you know what?
A Soldano amp.
Oh my goodness! And what, the little sweet switch and everything?
Oh yeah, the real sweet switch.
How sweet could that be?